Hello, it's Liz. Welcome to my channel, West Star Tarot. And today I'm here to chat with you a little bit about April favorites. So, wow, I don't know. I had, oh my gosh, the biggest hawk just flew by my window. Sorry as I digress. Wow, I'm kind of blown away. Well, we're having a hawk moment apparently. Anyway, I'll get back on track now that I'm overcoming my surprise. So I had kind of a hectic month. I had some minor surgery and that kind of took up time. And I just have a lot going on, unfortunately. But, you know, my spiritual practice, my tarot cards, my books, my herbs, my crystals, all these things soothe me, heal me, ground me, enliven me, make me have a full heart and soul. And so I feel quite fortunate to have all these things in my life. So let's talk a little bit about those things. I thought I might start with crystals. So one of the things I did do in April was I went to a little kind of mini crystal sale. Kind of a friend of a friend had this little pop-up crystal sale. So my sister and I went off to check things out. And, you know, I kind of need another crystal the same way I need another book or another tarot deck. But I still bought some. So I wanted to start with this one because I find it enchanting. It's called Cherry Blossom. And I believe it's a jasper. But what attracted me to it was those red or pinkish salmon colored spots, blotches. But if you look, there's these viney things that kind of connect everything together. And then of course there's this black background. It's quite stunning. And I had never seen this before. And the woman who had the sale, she writes up, she kind of channels what the stones tell her they mean, which is not necessarily in a book or the standard known meaning for the crystal. So for this one, it says, expect miracles. Allow the hope and beauty of springtime to live in you. Heaven and earth meet within you and blossom with hope. So I thought that was an interesting description of this because we have the silver and the gray and the peachy color and then that dark black. So anyway, I think it's gorgeous and I have it now in my window. The second stone that I wanted to talk about is this one. Gorgeous, isn't it? You can actually, can you see my finger through it? It's a bit over here you can see, it's a bit translucent. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. I just love that color. And it's called Afghan Blue Calcite, Freedom. The true peace within you will lead to freedom from fear and self-doubt. The weight of unworthiness is lifted by your loving connection to spirit. Kindness and compassion for yourself will bring peace to the world. So this reminds me of several things. First of all, at the beginning, sorry, now there's a crow. We're having our winged ones visiting during this video. So at the beginning of 2023, I do this every year. I kind of think about a trait or a quality, something I want to embody or something I want to work on within myself, either releasing or bringing in. And so this one, this year, I decided to work on loving kindness. and compassion. And so when I saw, first of all, I was just attracted to this crystal because of the beautiful color of it. It just made me, I looked at that and felt peace, that color, and the vibe from the stone. But it also had, when I read the piece of paper about the meaning, it talked about kindness and compassion for yourself will bring peace to the world. And as I said, I'm trying to be kinder and more compassionate. You know, I'm trying to think about, Liz, you know, that person that you think is being a jerk, you don't really know what their life is like. You don't know the pressures they're living with. And so maybe cut them some slack. Anyway, that's something I'm working on. And, you know, I do feel like I'm making some progress. I do have setbacks. Yes, I do. But it's something I'm working on. And then the other thing that this made me think about when it said bringing peace to the world, I did a video in March, I believe. Can't remember if it was the beginning of April or the end of, well, it might have been the beginning of April, where I talked about how I would love for us as a tarot and magical and metaphysical community to consider using magic and doing magical work to defeat hate and to bring peace and love and kindness into this world. And so that this stone, the meaning of this stone made me think about that. So I will be using this stone in some of my magical workings because kindness, compassion for myself and bringing peace into the world. And so this will be part of my magical workings that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to try to do one major working or spell a month towards this goal that I've talked about. Anyway, that stone will be part of it. All right. The last one I wanted to bring forward is called Unicorn Jasper. And this is what the piece that I have looks like. And it's really funny because when I brought this home, this card was on my altar. I put tarot cards in wooden stands on my altar, but I also have greeting cards that I buy specifically for my altar, or sometimes they're, cards that someone sent me. This one I got, a friend of mine and I went to the MFA, the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, for a Hokusai exhibit. So this is by the Japanese artist Hokusai. And this was on my altar because I just thought it was perfect for April in terms of the vibe and the colors. You know, it's starting to turn away from the winter grayness and brownness, and we're starting to see some spring green and some blue, and you know, it's starting to have that springy feeling. But then when I put this on my altar, I just was amazed at how these two look together. Here's the other side. Let me turn this over. So this is the side that I have up. Isn't that incredible? I'm kind of amazed by how these two, it's almost like, did this stone inspire Hokusai to do this piece of artwork? I don't know. But anyway, that's on my altar. And let me tell you a little bit about Unicorn Jasper. Open to the magic of childhood, wonder, innocence, and joy. Never forget that you can fly. Let the unicorn show you all that is good in yourself and the world. So that is Unicorn Jasper. So those are the three crystals that I actually are new to me in the month of April, and that two of them are on my altar, and then the cherry blossom is just sitting in the window in my room. So anyway, those are crystals. My herb for the month of April was nettle. And Nettle I dry and I use in my magical workings. So nettle, stinging nettle. If you've ever walked through a nettle patch or been stung by a nettle, you know what it feels like. And it does feel like a bee sting. However, it can last for, I mean, I've been stung by a nettle and woken up the next day and still felt the sting. I don't really mind it. But there are plants and antidotes that you can use herbally to, diminish the sting. But nettle, I like to dry and use when I'm doing candle spells for protection, because really it's very protective. The sting. If someone starts to walk through a nettle patch, trust me, they turn around real quickly and walk back out because it's like, holy moly, that's a sting. So I like to use it in my magical workings as an herb of protection and an herb of just stay away. So when I've been doing spells for marginalized communities, I anoint the candle in oil and then I roll it in the dry nettle leaves. And I just envision that nettle is protecting the marginalized community or individual, and that it's telling the perpetrators, stay away, back off. This isn't a good place for you. So nettle I've been using for my magical workings, but I've also been drinking it as tea, fresh tea. I love nettle fresh. It tastes so green and so springy, and it's so full of minerals and vitamins. It is what our elders and I think about my Scottish roots, but I'm sure other folks ancestors used nettle tea too. It's an amazing spring tonic. So way back in the day, before there was refrigeration and grocery stores, and so you actually couldn't eat summer or spring foods in February. You had dried whatever you had. So by the time spring rolls around, so for me, nettle really starts to come into being able to be cut and used as tea in April. Our bodies back in the day, especially, were really craving and in need of minerals and vitamins, because our ancestors had gone all winter long with hardly a vegetable or fruit. And so now their bodies were in deep need of vitamins and minerals from that normally we could get from our foods, and making a strong nettle infusion, steaming the nettle and eating it the same way you would spinach or some other green, was another great way of getting nettles. And the stinging nature of nettle, once you cook it, either steam it or saute it or whatever for a steamed green, or you pour boiling water on it to infuse it as an infusion or a tea, or you dry it and then use it, well, in my case for magical workings. The sting is gone, so you don't get a sting from it once you've dried it, cooked it, or infused it in water. So nettle was my herb for April, and it's continuing to be my herb in May. When I made tea with it in April, I also put in some spearmint to just kind of liven it up a little bit. I love that blend of spearmint and nettle. So those were my herbs. Books? Well, I've been talking on this channel about my to be read pile, how it's so tall, it's about to topple over. And in fact, there's more than one. There's multiple to be read piles. I have fiction and nonfiction. I have, it's really out of control. But you know what? Whatever. So I did read a few books in April. Let me see. So this one I got online, And I'm not sure why I bought it. This is a really old book from back in the day. Let me see when it was published. 1988. It's by Brian Weiss, who's a physician, a medical doctor, a psychiatrist. And this book has been around, well, since 1988. I have seen it on book lists. I've seen it in bookstores. I know people who have read it. I have meant to read it since 1988. And somehow something propelled me to order it from the secondhand bookstore, the online Second Sale, maybe? Oh, there's a bookmark in here. Second Sale? I think so. Second Sale. I think it cost $3. So anyway, I read this. I sat down on a Friday afternoon or evening, and I finished the book in a weekend. It's only 220 pages or something long, so it's not a long book, and it's a pretty easy read. And parts of it, you can tell it was written in 1988. It has some of that, 80s new age shit in it. But it was fun and it was interesting and it made me think about reincarnation. And I'm fascinated by that topic. And I love to do a past life regression. I've done them before. My women's group, we used to, in our sacred circle, we used to occasionally do them with each other, but it's been a long time since I've ever done one. And this is making me feel like, well, maybe it's time to give that a whirl again. So this was fascinating. I did enjoy it. Like I said, it does show its age, but it's okay. So a friend of mine was telling me about this. I don't know exactly if she's a counselor, a spiritual coach, a teacher. She's a yoga teacher. Her name is Shireen. Oh shucks, Carter? Not sure. But Shireen is running a book group for her clients and other folks. And this is the book we're reading, We Heal Together. It's by Michelle Cassandra Johnson. And it's Rituals and Practices for Building Community and Connection. And I thought that this fit right into the work that I'm doing in terms of my magical workings and my social activism. Michelle Johnson is a social activist. She does anti-racism work. She teaches all kinds of things. She's also a trained yoga teacher. But one of the things that I really like about this book, our book group is only part way through it. One of the things I really like about it is there's a whole chapter on shared language, which I found very helpful. So for example, some of the terms that are defined, dominant culture. Now, I have been using that term for decades, but it's nice to see, let me just read a little bit. Dominant culture is a system that inherently believes some people are superior and others inferior. This system of dominance and inferiority is based on various identities such as race, gender expression, age, physical or mental capabilities, and sexual orientation. This list is not comprehensive as we hold many other identities beyond those mentioned here. Dominant culture creates norms, thus deeming who is normal and who is outside the norm. When one is seen as normal based on their identities, this gives them closer proximity to power. Therefore, dominant culture functions as a gatekeeper by deciding who has access to power and furthermore access to move with ease as they navigate their life. So she also defines privilege, white supremacy, race, social institutional power, racism, cultural appropriation, social location, suffering, spiritual bypassing, harm, blood memories, liberation, living ancestor, accomplice, comrade, spirit, ritual, ceremony, transformation, and assumptions. So for that chapter alone, I feel like this book is worth the price of admission and worth reading. I just loved that Michelle defines those terms. And it's helpful to me because many of those terms I use on a regular basis. And I feel like I know what I mean by it. But like if someone said to me, well, Liz, tell me, what do you mean by spiritual bypassing? Wow. So this gives me a definition. This helps me define the vocabulary that I'm using. And I find that very, very helpful. So another book that I am reading and have not finished in April is this one. Tarot and Astrology. Enhance Your Readings with the Wisdom of the Zodiac by Corinne Kenner. Wow. So I think this is my breakthrough book. I have been interested in astrology for a long time. When I was in high school, my high school boyfriend's mother was an astrologer. And nowadays, we wouldn't blink an eye at that. It's almost like saying my high school boyfriend's mother was a nurse. But back in the day, yeah, nobody's high school mother was an astrologer, trust me. But she was. And so that got me interested in astrology. But I've never really done a deep dive. I looked at it and it's just like, whoa, this seems like way too broad and deep and overwhelming for me to even begin to know where to start. But over the past 5 or more years, I've really thought, I want to know more about astrology. I want to understand at least a basic level. I don't want to be any kind of deep knowing astrology teacher or astrologist. I just want to have a basic understanding. And I certainly want to understand the correspondences, the astrological correspondences with tarot. But trying to memorize this stuff, and I've this is probably the 5th book on tarot and astrology that I've attempted to read. The others did nothing for me. In fact, I didn't even finish them, and they just confused me. I don't know. Maybe the time was right. Maybe the book was right. Maybe both of those together. But for some reason, this book is making it click for me. And I am so excited and I am enlivened and energized and really just having so much fun with this book. It's just, the light bulb is clicking left and right. Oh, get it. So I'm really, really enjoying it. It might be how it's organized. I'm not sure, but it's just great. I'm just really, really enjoying it. And funny, but I've been wanting to buy this deck for a while. I've been a little bit interested in it. And I happened to buy it around the same time that I bought the tarot and astrology book, not even making any connection with them whatsoever. I did buy this from the Evil Empire, and oftentimes if I'm not sure about a mass market deck, I will buy it from the Evil Empire. That's what I call Amazon, because if I don't like it, I send it back. So I first looked at this and thought, no, I'm sending it back. But then when I started reading that book, I'm like, oh no, these things really connect well. These little card meanings, and how I can walk through so is it decan or deacon? I mean, DEC really is like, should be pronounced decan, like decade. But I've heard people say deacon. I don't know. I'm saying decan, but I used to say deacon, so beats me. Anyway, it comes in a nice box. It's got that, got a nice little guidebook with a page on each card. And so let me just, what I've been doing is whatever the decan that we're in, I don't know if you can see it. Let me push this over here. So here's the card for the decan that we're in right now, which is the Seven of Pentacles. So this is the third decan of Taurus. And so I've been putting that card out just to, you know, have it kind of be in my face. And I think the third decan of Taurus is May 11th through 20th. Let me look here. Let's look it up in the book. So that has all clicked for me between the book and the deck. And the deck is, you know, it's a bit superficial, but, you know, it's helping me make the connection. So yes, so this is Saturn in Taurus, third decan. And so the key words are waiting, gestation, pause that brings nourishment. So we see that, you know, that talks a little bit about Taurus, the being patient and waiting and pausing. So here's what the book says. In the Seven of Pentacles, we often meet a figure who has sown seeds and is now waiting for the plant which she has taken care of to bloom and bear fruit. Indeed, here, Saturn instills a tendency to hard work, reflection, and reward, but only at the end of a demanding process. Likewise, Taurus represents the ability to wait and do things at the right time and to enjoy finally what we have sown. So I like that this book just has, like, it had more, but I that was just what I thought was apropos. It gives you like a little synopsis about the decan that you're in and the tarot card, the sub-ruling planet, and the sign, the astrological sign. So these two things have been kind of fun, and I'm energized and excited about my astrology studies. And like I said, things are just clicking, and it's exciting, and I'm having fun. And you know, that's the whole point of learning, isn't it? To have fun and to be energized about it. So those are three of the books. I also read a bunch of fiction books, mainly thrillers and mysteries, which is par for me. Now I want to finish up with my beloved tarot. So I'm just going to really quickly talk about three of the decks I worked with, because I've been talking about these decks for several months now. And so I don't want to belabor it because I don't want people to fall asleep. But the one of the ones I worked with was Witch's Wisdom. And I think I've told you all, I'm just having such a fun time with this deck. I'm just enjoying the artwork. Is beautiful, Daniel Barlow, and I'm liking the guidebook by Phyllis Curott. What I'm not enjoying is the stinking horrible cardboard cardstock. And you know, this deck, for a mass market deck, I think this was $40. It wasn't cheap. And it's like, you know, Hay House, yeah, do better. Anyway, that's this deck. Like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on these decks because I've been talking about them for several months. The other one, the other tarot that kind of came in this batch from Hay House, I actually did a video about 4 new decks from Hay House, and just kind of saying thank you to Hay House for publishing decks that are outside the norm of what a lot of other mass market companies are publishing. So this is the Fifth Spirit Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess. It is, let me just see what they say about it. I think it's right inside. It says, yes. May this deck guide you to your truth, for where you find your truth, you'll find your power. But they talk about this being a deck for a queer and inclusive deck for a world beyond binaries. So I love that. And I love the artwork. I love the guidebook. This deck just, man, it packs a punch, but not in a horrible way. It just, I love, again, the messages I'm getting. I'm going through some transformative time in my life. I might be making a really big life change, and I've been struggling and I've been struggle and victory, back and forth. And this deck has been my friend and my guidance and my teacher. So I'm enjoying it, and it's really helping me. Recommend it wholeheartedly. I think it's like $20. You will not spend a better $20. And then the other Hay House deck that I've been working a lot with is this Sacred Medicine one by Aisha Frost, with the artwork by Steph Littlebird. And this is also a wonderful healing deck that I've been using as I am going through a transformative time that hasn't been the easiest time in my life. But I'm growing, and I'm evolving, and I'm changing, and it's all good. Another deck I worked with this month was the Gentle Tarot. Now, the name Gentle Tarot says a lot about this deck, doesn't it? It's gentle. So this is my most recent reading. I did a 5-card reading, and I got the Sun. Oh, sorry. 2 of Cups, the Magician. This is the King of Cups. And then the Wheel. And I have to say, this was one of the most incredible, meaningful, powerful, kick your butt, but love you readings I have had ever. And so the Gentle Tarot, yes, it's gentle, yes, it's loving, yes, it's kind, yes, it's compassionate, but it also tells the truth and will kick your butt when you need that. The last deck I wanted to talk about was the Tulku Oracle. This comes in this beautiful black box with embossed decorations on it, which are also on the guidebook. And this is by Carla Rafoxo. She is a jeweler, and all of the images on these cards were amulets that she sold as handcrafted jewelry. And then she decided to make them into an oracle deck. So one of the things about this was, I would say, so the Fifth Spirit Tarot, the Sacred Medicine, maybe not including the Witch's Wisdom, but this deck cost almost as much as the 3 of them together. But let me tell you, look at the edging. It doesn't flake off. I've used this deck a lot, and it still looks brand new. And I love that sort of chocolatey, bronzy. It's really gorgeous. The guidebook is incredible. It's 250 pages, I think. Yeah. It's really good. So this is a deck that has Tibetan and Indian, Hindu teachings in them. And let's see. So let me see what she says. So she talks about, she says the Tulku is the Tibetan term for the Sanskrit word Nirmanakaya, and it means to manifest or to emanate for the body. So it means a form that manifests or emanates. It is often used to describe reincarnate lamas in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So, sorry, I said Hindu. I should have said Buddhist. Anyway, it's just incredible. And the cardstock, so, it's it's fine to have an inexpensive deck with not awesome cardstock. I have to say, at least with the Fifth Spirit and the Sacred Medicine Oracle, I can shuffle them. The Witch's Wisdom, I can't shuffle it. So it kind of takes away from my experience and enjoyment. This deck, oh my gosh. First of all, the artwork is incredible. I've shown this before on my channel. It's just gorgeous. The cardstock, I have small hands. I have to do what I call the sideways shuffle. And so it's even harder for me than for like normal people. I'm a little person to shuffle. And so I do usually have to shuffle sideways. And so when cardstock is really thick, it makes it really hard for me to shuffle. And I love to shuffle. It's really part of the whole oracle and tarot reading experience. So I was pulling a card a night at bedtime with this deck. And I got this card, Thoksha. And I just thought I would end on a brief discussion from Carla about this. So this card, let me show the card. This card shows many things: an empty circle, infinity, zero, wholeness, completeness, emptiness, eternity, timelessness, a womb, cycles, unity, perfection, the beginning and the end. It holds an absence of size or quantity. The Tibetan Thoksha amulet symbolizes the field of ultimate possibilities, the wellspring of unlimited potential and abundance that is the creative essence of our life. So this is really interesting for me because I'm in a place of being stuck. And I feel like until I make some difficult and challenging decisions about my life, I'm going to be stuck. And I'm not going to have these unlimited possibilities and potential. And I'm going to be missing the boat in terms of some possible things that could happen for me in my life. So that was sort of I've been leaving that card out because I really need to think about. And it says, embrace the part of yourself that is quivering and sacred. Remember that if you breathe space into these harder emotions when they arise, a window opens into the realm of possibility. And the ground of trust grows more firm and stable. The Thoksha's protective womb-like expression will then encompass you from this place. The Thoksha is here to remind you that as you move into life, holding hands with trust and letting go of that which doesn't serve you, you will feel the whole of the universe showing up to support you. So that is a really important card and reminder for me at this point in my life. There are possibilities when you move out of the place of stagnation and stuckness, but it's hard. So that's where I'm ending my month of April. We are now halfway through May as I do this video, and I feel like I am starting to move out of that place of stuckness and stagnation. Where do you find yourself this day in April and May of 2023? What's going on with you? What books, what decks, what's inspiring you? What kind of journey are you on? Where are you finding yourself? Are you learning, reaching, growing, releasing, or are you stuck? Love to you all. Peace and blessings.